Hello and welcome to the Toppers Talk with Ecoholics. Today we have with us a very inspirational story and a very inspirational person, Monika. Monika has recently cracked the UPSC Indian Economic Service examination, and so we are going to firstly congratulate her on this great success, and also we are going to know a lot about her struggles and her journey of success. So, welcome, Monika, on this session on this podcast. And a heartiest congratulations, firstly, to you from the team Ecoholics.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me here, and thank you so much for the wishes. And Ecoholics has been very instrumental in this journey. Like the interview guidance that was provided by Ecoholics was really helpful really helpful for me in securing all India rank 10 in IES examination. So I'm really grateful to the Ecoholics team.
Thank you so much, Monika. We are very glad that we could contribute somehow. And after all, it's all your success. So we are going to talk about your journey. Firstly, top 10. How does it feel? What were the first things that were there in your mind after seeing the final result?
Like everyone really waits for this holy PDF, and it feels really great to find your name in the selected candidates list. So I was really overjoyed and overwhelmed to find my name in the final list. And we were just predicting that result will be out in the next week, in the coming week, but it was out on the day of 12th December, on the day on which I gave the special board interview. So I had to appear for the special board interview, and I didn't know that result will be out on the same day. So it was like I feel really excited to see my name in the list. Everyone was congratulating me, and people actually knew the result before I came to know about it.
Right. You must have taken some time to process all these things because you were already in the process of, okay, final interview ho jayega, khatam ho jayega, the process will get over, then the result is going to get out. But it was very quickly that you found that result and it was in your favor. So absolutely fantastic. How were the reactions of the family? What were the first wishes that you got?
Like my friends were there, like I'm doing PhD from JNU, so my PhD friends were already there to congratulate me. And the success really becomes a good success and great success when your friends and family members are there to celebrate it with you. So my friends were there with me, they were celebrating with me, so like there was so much joy. My family is really happy. Finally I'm back to home celebrating the success with my family.
Wow, that's wonderful. So, Monika, I mean, every economics aspirant perceives Indian Economic Service examination as a very important goal in their lives because this is a very prestigious examination. Everyone knows that. And to firstly make it through the answer writing examination, the first examination, the first phase of this exam, and then make it to the interview as well, are both very honorable opportunities that you get. And once you crack that, then of course it becomes a great impact in your life. So if I would just like to ask you that, what was Monika like before the 12th of December, and after the 12th of December, what are you now and what you want to now become and what you want to do as an economics officer? So what would your answer be?
Yeah, so before 12th December, it was really skeptic, like what will be the result? Like every person works really hard, and I'm not saying that those whose name is not there in the list, they did not work hard, but everybody works hard, and there is some luck factor also in the interview process. So God was really kind to me that I found my name in the list. But I think the written stage plays a very important role, and interview stage is not separated from the preparation. Like we have to prepare for the personality right from the stage when we have to start answer writing. So interview stage itself is a part of preparation. It's not just a 1 month preparation, 2 month preparation. It's an entire year preparation. So
Correct.
I would say that once we have decided that we wish to appear for the exam, we just need to proceed towards it. So before 12th December, I was a student, like really aspiring for the result in my favor. But after 12th December, when the result is out, I'm really willing to help all the aspirants who are looking for the genuine guidance to crack this exam. So
Absolutely. Even we would want you to, be a part of Ecoholics family. Now that, of course, you are a part, but in future also, when the students require your guidance and your mentorship, we would definitely approach you in terms of that as well. Um, Monica, my next question, of course, is with regards to your preparation for this examination, but not from the point of view of the papers or, with respect to GE1, GE2. I would actually like to know the backstory of how you approached economics in your life and when did you start aiming for this examination? What were your, findings? What were your school findings like, and how did you approach to economics in general?
all right, so I'll first give my background, like how my background actually helped me in
Yes.
thinking about this exam and
Yeah.
help in cracking this exam. So, like in my school stream, I did not have economics as a subject. I was a
Oh,
science stream person, so I had never studied economics in my school. Like in 10th class, there is a small portion in economics, but
yes.
later on, I decided, like discussing with other people who are already into the field, like what
Mhm.
should the subject should I opt for. So then I went for economics honors from Lady Shri Ram College for Women, University of Delhi,
Mhm.
and that actually helped me in developing some understanding of the subject in the graduation itself. So right after graduation, I thought of preparing for civil services examination. Like that's, I think, the first exam that everyone aspires for right after the graduation. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I prepared for 2 years dedicatedly, and I opted for economics optional as my
Okay.
optional subject.
Mhm.
So like I had developed a good foundation of
Right.
economics from the economics optional paper, but I could not clear prelims for two times. And like in
Mhm.
2023, I appeared for mains, but unfortunately, I could not make it to the interview round. So then I thought of giving it a shot to IES examination. So in 2024, I thought of skipping the CSE attempt, Civil Services Examination attempt. And then I thought like I'll take a risk and I will appear for Indian Economic Service exam only.
Mhm.
So my background of civil services examination actually helped me in um,
Yeah.
working hard and having this patience that is
Right.
required in these kind of examinations. So
Right.
I had developed all these qualities in the process. Like I have faced multiple setbacks, like
Yeah.
prelims failure. So that actually helped me in developing the patience, perseverance that is required for the examination. And the
Mm.
art of answer writing I developed from the civil services examination that actually helped me in writing answers, managing the time properly during the examination.
Right. So
Yeah.
there's a unique thing about UPSC level examinations that whether it's civil services exam or whether it is Indian Economic Service examination, the answer writing has a technique that you should. That's not like a it's not like a scientific technique. But once you are disciplined enough to start writing answers wishfully and very in a regular format, then after a point of time you get a knack of it, and then you start understanding that what exactly has to be written. But to come to that to come to that point where you know that what exactly has to be written, there's a lot of patience that is required.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
to students who are generally aspirants of the economic services examination, what would your top three strategies or top three tips would be that okay, these are the things that must be learned and done so that your answer writing will improve gradually?
All right, ma'am. So, first and important advice is to complete the entire syllabus before coming into the answer writing for any topic.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that first wait for the syllabus completion and then you have to start answer writing. Otherwise, very little time will be left,
Yeah,
and like student will start panicking.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
like what should be done is that start like complete one topic
yeah.
and then look at the previous year questions. Then
Hmm.
you will understand that whatever I have studied, I can apply that knowledge in writing answers. An
Hmm.
important thing is we have to see, like we don't have to write everything that we know for a given topic in the answer. We have to see what all aspects have been asked in the question, and we are supposed to address all the aspects. We should not be running behind writing perfect answers. We have to address all the aspects. I think that will help in fetching the marks. what we do is we start thinking like this is a perfect answer, this is a perfect language that we have to write. But the thing is, everyone writes normal answers. They just do some value addition and address all the answers, all the aspects that are asked in the question. So that is really important when you start answer writing. And once you have finished all the syllabus, you can interlink the different topics that are there in the different papers of IES, and you can link those topics in a particular question. Like different models we study in international trade. So those can be applied in Indian economy context also. Like you can say that this model has some application in Indian economy. So this kind of interlinkages and understanding economics student has to develop while answer writing. And like how a particular topic that is being asked can be linked to the Indian economy in any paper, we have to start think in that way.
Yeah.
So I think that can help in value addition in answer writing.
Right, absolutely. Very good tips, I must say, to all the students that you have given. Because when we talk about interlinkages of these different subjects, now right from the graduation, post graduation, students study these economic subjects separately. So there is a preconceived idea that these subjects are separate and
Hmm.
must be separately studied, and so the brain has to start bending into a creating a methodology. Let's say you mentioned about PYQs, or you mentioned about one topic complete, so start looking at how you're going to frame an answer about it, or how you're going to write something related to a certain theory and link it to the answer. So that connection only will be drawn once they start going more towards answer writing or practicing more. So I would like to know how much practice you did, or let's say, if I talk from the point of view of, let's say, a week in Monika's life while she was studying in for IES examination. How many number of hours or how many number of days in a week you designated that this much I have to write the number of answers so that I get the best out of my answers.
So, ma'am, I did not follow a very rigid schedule. Like
Mm-hmm.
I earlier mentioned that I'm pursuing PhD from JNU. So
Genuine,
it was
yeah.
a really, yeah, it was little hectic for me to manage the time. So I
Yeah.
just kept my schedule little flexible that will
Mm-hmm.
suit my time and suit my health.
Yeah.
So after taking regular classes for the PhD, I would sit in the library and I decided like this is a topic that I have to finish today. Like whatever number of hours it take, I had to finish it,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to write answers related to that topic in that given day. So this
Hmm.
is how I used to make my goals. It was not
Hmm.
weekly goals or monthly goals. I just used to
Right.
make daily goals like this is a topic I have to finish. And
Yeah.
the thing is, I just got a printout of all the previous year question paper that are available on the Ecoholics website, topic
Hmm.
wise and paper wise. And uh, like I used to look at the topics that I have done and tick mark on that. That actually helped me in tracking my progress. Like these are the topics that I have finished and these are left. So this is
Hmm.
really important. Like previous year analysis is really important. This is a bible for the examination. People wait for the time to look at the previous year question. Like they just devote a lot of time in reading books initially, and they do not look at the previous year questions. So my advice is that look at the previous year questions side by side because there are repetitive themes, and you can
Hmm.
prepare the topics from the previous year questions itself. You don't have to refer to a number of books to study these topics. So my strategy was to look at look at every subtopic that is mentioned in the syllabus and to
Hmm.
cover it through internet or through books. Like I
Yeah.
used internet thoroughly for this preparation. Chat GPT, internet, I make a good use of that. Technology has been
Right.
really instrumental in the process. So I covered all the topics, so I did not leave any topic. So my advice to all the aspirants is that don't leave out any topic, whether it is your weak point or strong point. Prepare
Hmm.
every topic because you never know what weightage is given to that topic in the examination.
True. True.
Don't leave any topic. And also for the GS and the English, don't ignore these two subjects. We know that these carries 100 marks each, but that can make a great difference in the final ranking. So for English improvement, you can follow any newspaper daily like Indian Express, and for the GS you have to start right from the beginning. so that it doesn't get very late.
Yeah.
And
And
it
also
also,
for GS, there's no specific, like, syllabus is not there, structured way that these are the subtopics that you have to do. So, which is why it becomes a little difficult for even students to identify, okay, how much in depth has to be, you have to go. Now, you were from civil services background, so you must have done GS in that specific way. But what did you find different in the PYQs or in the GS format that was for Indian Economic Service Examination?
yeah. So despite having the background of civil services examination, I did a thorough analysis of GS previous year questions for the IES also,
Mm,
because I did not want to leave any stone unturned for this preparation. So
mm,
the difference is in the civil services examination, the questions are asked in quite depth. They require analytical skills. But in
mhm,
IES, the questions are really simple, straightforward, in simple language, and they asked very few aspects of the questions.
mm,
So I think almost 60% of the preparation for the GS can be done from reading daily newspaper, because they focus on current events. Even in the polity
mhm,
section, in the geography section, they ask questions that are there in the newspaper, current events. For example, in the geography, they asked about El Nino. So that was there in the news in the context of Indian agriculture. So
right.
this is not out of the box question. Those who are following newspaper daily, they can cover it from there. And in the
Mm,
polity also, they asked some question on elections, simultaneous elections in India. So that was also from the newspaper. So my advice is to follow newspaper diligently, any newspaper like Indian Express, to cover the GS syllabus. And
mm,
like rest of the subjects like history, that can be covered from NCRT, but that is not enough. So what aspirants can do is that they can look at the previous year and they can pick the themes. Like if some question is asked from Indus Valley civilization about art and architecture of IVC, so students can simply Google Indus Valley civilization and cover all the aspects. So if any
mm,
question is asked from Indus Valley civilization, they will be able to make some points.
mhm,
And
right.
really they can cover all the themes, whatever asked in the previous year. Because UPSC has already asked a lot of questions right from 2016 to 2024. So there is a good collection of the questions, and students can make themes out of these questions and prepare these
Mm,
themes through the internet. I mean, there is an ample
mm,
amount of resources that are available freely on the internet. So they don't have to
mhm,
even read books line by line. They can smartly prepare for GS paper. And in GS, they award very like average marks. Even if you write very good answers, 45 or 50 is the, I think, the maximum that we can expect. So the trick is to
mm,
finish the paper. Just write something, finish the paper
mm,
on time. So that is really
mm,
important. And value addition can be done by making maps, like directly picking the maps from the NCRT and start practicing. That can add value addition to the answers. So in GS, we just can't write perfect answers, but the trick is to address all the aspects and read the newspaper daily. That will help in
right.
covering different themes.
Absolutely. You mentioned a very unique thing about marks. And that's something that definitely I would like to discuss from you. There are many students, many aspirants, maybe not all, but of course, because of the inquisitiveness about this examination, students search the mark sheets of the toppers, okay, of the past toppers, and how much score they on an average received. And of course, everything is officially available on the website. There are different websites also giving a trend, etc. So now many students have these confusions and even inquisitiveness that okay, how many the toppers have scored this much marks in this paper, that many marks in that paper, so even our standard score should be that much. But every year things change, paper dynamics change, exam, everything changes, and also the score changes a bit, and it's completely not dependent on any other factors other than the absolute questions that were asked and how the answers were given. So in this sense, what would you like to advise the students of how to track your marks, what should be seen if a certain test, let's say we evaluate the test, so we focus on remarks more than the marks. So, what would be your advice to them to how to look at their marks? What should be taken from that? What should be taken from the toppers' marks, and how to set standards accordingly?
Yeah, so honestly, ma'am, I never looked at the mark sheets and think that way. Like this is a marks and
Yeah.
toppers are getting, and I will get uh, these much marks from the decent preparation, because I think this is not a right approach for this examination. So I think
Mm-hmm.
rather than focusing on, like, if someone is giving mock test and they are getting some marks, so rather than focusing on the absolute marks, they should focus on how they can improve their answers. That is really important, because because in the examination, like, the marking scheme gets altered. Some year,
Mm-hmm.
indian economy in Indian economy section, people get few marks, not really good
Yeah.
marks. So
Yeah.
that dynamics can change, as you mentioned, it depends on the paper. So
Yeah.
these marks should not be the standard or the criteria that one should be looking at. They should focus on
Yes.
the remarks, what remarks they are getting, and how they can improve in the next paper. So this should be the
Absolutely.
strategy. The feedback is really important that ones get from the evaluation. That is really important.
Right. Right. Also, you mentioned that, about weaknesses and strengths in this examination. I would like to know from you, if you look at the whole Indian Economic Service examination and six papers at a stretch, what would you say were your subjects of challenge that you really wanted to work hard on, and the subjects that you felt comfortable in, and there were only things that you added on to it so that you could score well?
So my strength was Indian economy, since I have studied a lot in GS papers and economics optional. So I was really comfortable in the Indian economy paper. I just had to do the value addition from the current affairs, like the graphs, the trends. I just had to do the
Mm-hmm.
value addition. So I thought I will do this paper in the last months of the exam.
Huh.
So initially I focused on my weak areas that will take a lot of time. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought econometrics and statistics and mathematics require a lot of practice, because despite knowing the answers, our poor time management can result in getting, like, wrong answers. So I thought I should focus on completing econometrics, statistics, and mathematics first, so that I can attempt all the previous year questions, and I can be really confident if I get questions on econometrics in the paper. Because sometimes
Mm-hmm.
simple micro questions, sometimes we are not able to write simple micro questions, like questions asked in microeconomics. So to be in the safe zone, I completed econometrics so that I can attempt econometrics questions, because these are really marks fetching. If you know the answer, you can get good
Yeah.
marks. There is less subjectivity in these areas. So I tried
Hmm.
to work on these sections initially. So it took
Hmm.
me around like 1 month to cover all these econometrics, statistics, mathematics, and micro questions. So I think we need to first focus on the weak areas, so that we can
Hmm.
have a confidence like this much we have covered, and then we have to shift to the areas that are our strong parts. So
Hmm.
this was my approach. And next challenging thing was paper 2, GE paper 2. That's a very bulky paper. It has a lot
Yeah.
of subjects. So my next approach was to prepare this paper thoroughly. You can't leave
Hmm.
out anything in this paper. There is growth and development, international trade, and there is macroeconomics. So I completely relied on previous year questions to cover all the topics that are there in GE2. So that was my approach. And GE3 is not that very hectic. Like, there is environmental economics that can also be covered from newspapers, because they also ask some current affairs based on environment. So
Yeah. Dynamic questions are there.
the
Yeah.
questions are there. So,
Hmm.
like, value addition can be done if we follow the newspapers daily. So
Hmm.
I think the syllabus is not really difficult. Like, the we just need to have a very good approach for this
Yeah.
exam. And covering syllabus topic wise is really, really important. Times are gone when people can make smart strategy and leave out the topics,
Hmm.
because UPSC has started giving all the topics in parts. Like, A part has this topic, B
Yes.
part has this topic.
Yeah.
And one important thing is that, I would like to give aspirants the advice that once you get the question paper, spend 10 minutes, maximum 10 minutes, in deciding what questions you have to attempt. Don't directly jump on writing. This will save a lot of time, because choosing
Hmm.
questions is really important. That will help you in fetching marks, in identifying your strong area, which questions you have to attempt. So this was the advice given by one of the seniors to me, and I'm passing it to other aspirants. So this is really important in selecting the answers.
Absolutely, very, very important strategy. First, browse through your paper and look what you can really, really possibly attempt for scoring good marks. So
Yes, ma'am.
definitely. There are also, so UPSC is a very, a wise game, or wise person's game, because in every paper you will find some questions which are delectable, which are like so great, but you know that if you attempt it halfway, you will find that there is some struggle that you can't complete this answer
Right.
without over explaining. And there's no scope of over explaining. So it's a matter of your choice that you leave that question, how much ever it allures you, leave it and go for the another one, which is easy answer, which is like a direct one, which is more in terms of you can give it your inputs in the answer more professionally, instead of a lot of brain work. So I think that important choice of making is very important, and that's how you can do it. Now, I mean, proceeding towards after the mains examination, and one step ahead when you go getting shortlisted in the interview. Now, what type of aspects and aspirations and personality development starts at your end? What are all the things that what would you like to advise that in that span of time, what all things should be kept in mind, especially who crack the examination, who are getting shortlisted? Because there's a lot of anxiety, excitement is there, but then DAF filling is also very, very crucial. So, what are all the things that you definitely paid a lot of attention to?
Yeah, so first of all, the important thing is DEF, as you mentioned. This is really, really important. And I think we should devote a considerable amount of time in deciding what should be written and what should not be written in the DEF. Because sometimes we get so overwhelmed that we think that we should write all our achievements in the DEF so that we can project ourselves as a very potential and a good candidate for the exam. But my advice is that first note down or all your achievements and then start filtering out, because you should write only those achievements in which you are able to speak, you are able to make a good argument in those fields. And like they are very experienced people, so you can't always make a fool out of them. So always write genuine hobbies and genuine things, and you can start practicing some hobby at your own level right after the exam. So that will actually help you in building the personality, a genuine personality. And talking to the seniors, professors, and the mentors is really helpful in filtering out the content. So that actually helps me in the DAF, because DAF is the first thing that is there in front of the interview panel. So
Right.
I'll tell you about my experience. So my interview was completely based on DEF. They did not ask me any technical economics questions. So from my from my case, I can say that DEF is really important. So they picked the things that were mentioned in the DEF, and then they relate it to some economic aspects. So if
Yeah.
you're writing some hobby, then they will connect it to economics. So
Yes.
this kind of brainstorming one has to do before filling in the def. So that is the most important step towards the interview preparation. Apart from that, following newspaper daily, I followed newspaper daily, Mint and Indian Express. Like in the for the written stage, I followed only Indian Express, but for the interview stage, I followed Mint and Live Mint and Indian Express daily. So following newspaper is really important to cover the current affairs, international geopolitics questions, though they don't focus much on that. But economics related news that we have to
Um,
follow, that's really important. That
right.
helps in building opinions and perspectives
Yeah.
so that you can speak in front of the panel. And we should be able to have this uh, have this guts to take a stand in front of the panel if they are asking you to take some stand. So don't be diplomatic in that situation. You have to develop that perspective to take a stand for particular situation. So that will come when you read the newspaper daily, read the editorials, and read the different perspectives on any given topic. So taking stand is also really important in the interview stage.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Correct.
that's all what I was doing after the written results were declared.
A very unique thing that you mentioned, taking stand. And many students confuse even while writing answer, giving a balanced answer and taking a stand or giving your opinion and suggestion. What is the difference between the two, or are they same, or what? How do you perceive specifically, even in the interview and even while writing opinion-based questions answers?
So, like if it is a written stage, then we can write
Hmm.
a balanced answer unless and until they've specifically asked, like write the
Hmm.
demerits or the advantages. So
Hmm.
we should write both the sides in the written answer.
Yeah.
But if it's about the interview panel, they expect you to take some sides. So initially, you can mention both the sides of any aspect, and then you
Hmm.
can specifically take a stand like this should be done. So, like they can ask
Hmm.
you, like if India is buying discounted oil from Russia, despite the fact
Hmm.
that Russia is involved in Ukraine war, and
Hmm.
India take a strong stand on non-violence, but it
Hmm.
is buying discounted oil from Russia. So how will you justify that? Non-violence on the one hand and discounted oil at the other hand. One is economics aspect and one is the its philosophy of non-violence. So in
Yeah.
that case, you have to put forward like your stand. Like this is something that is beneficial for Indian citizens, and India is a welfare state. So its mandate is to think about the citizens. So buying oil is really justified at this stage, and India has like time and again committed towards non-violence at the United Nations General Assembly platform. So this is how we have to frame our answers. We can't
Yeah.
completely say that buying oil is wrong because we have to be
Correct.
practical. We have to be practical.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct, correct. Very, very good example actually, that you mentioned, because it's there's a lot of actual confusion in terms of how you quote your opinion. Acha, there's also one very important aspect where there is opinion that you may have, but sometimes the question is a little flipped, and you are on a verge of giving a pessimistic answer, maybe against the government, or maybe not just against the government, but like against a certain policy. And if you're in that state, what how the answer should be framed is also one question that I would like to ask.
So if it is a written stage, then I think the language that we use in the answer is really important. Since we have to work with the government, within the government, we can't like outrightly criticize any policy in
Right.
a brutal manner. We can
Right.
say that this policy is working, but there are some limitations that should be looked at into.
Mhm.
And then you can write some limitations and the weaknesses of that any policy. And then you can
Hmm.
suggest the way forward. So while
Correct.
criticizing, you should also mention the way forward or the solutions. That will show
Hmm.
that you are eager to make change in the system. So,
Hmm.
like, start from the criticism, then also mention the way forward. That should be the right approach. And in the
Right.
interview panel, also, you can say that like this is something which is not working well, and more can be done in this direction. So, this should be the
Mhm.
language that we have to use in formal settings.
Hmm. Correct. Absolutely.
This will show
Absolutely.
that you are eager to. Yeah.
Sorry, Monica. Your voice
So
actually just
language plays a very
got cut
important
off.
role. Yeah.
Right. Uh, there was a small,
So
actually gap
now am I
between.
audible?
Yeah, you're audible, but your video is getting stuck
Am I
a
audible?
bit. Now it's okay.
Okay. So ma'am, I will use my data. Okay. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
so I was
now it's
making
okay.
the point that language actually, yeah, so I was making the point that language plays a very important role in putting forward your argument. Like you can
Yeah.
have very good arguments, but if you are not really well versed in the language, that can be
Hmm.
a setback. So interview
Correct.
stage, like preparation for the interview stage is really important to work on these aspects of the personality. And
Right.
mock interviews can help, like help you in making these
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, when we talk about personality, you also mentioned previously in your one of your answers that personality is not built in a day, it starts from the very starting of when you have decided that you are going for this examination. So you have to simultaneously start working on your personality. So I would like you to elaborate on this a bit, that what are the aspects that you really, apart from the language, what were the other aspects that you really worked on, or you intentionally thought that, okay, I have to develop these aspects of in my schedule, in my life, so that during my interview I can showcase the best of myself.
Yes, ma'am. So I think most of the personality was built out of reading newspapers. So when I was reading some news, I used to think that how this news can be helpful for my syllabus for the IES examination, and I used to think about it, like what my stand is on this aspect. Like if there is some news about any social issue, so I used to think about it. Like this is something which is relevant for my answer writing, and what stand that I can take from it. Like any movie that
Hmm.
you watch, you can
Right.
have a lesson out of it, like 12th fail movie. So I watched that movie not just for the sake of entertainment. You can have learnings out of it, so that whenever you have to mention something, you can mention about the movie in your essay writing in the English paper. So I used to study like that. Like this is something that I can use in my preparation strategy and what I think about it. If some event is going on, like about COP29, I used to think that why India is taking this stand, what should be taken, what developed countries should do. So these all aspects I used to think about it. That actually helped me in building my perspective also and my personality also. Like what I think as an officer, like what should be done for the India.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
this is how news should be read. They should not be crammed, but newspaper reading is really important to build understanding on this.
Correct, correct. Also, let's say when we talk about this examination, economics, current affairs, or in any case, the general awareness about the general aspects of economy are very, very important. And newspaper, you have quoted, play a vital, vital role in understanding the perspective that is going on, what type of economic affairs are happening, and how the policymakers are taking a stand in different aspects. So when we speak about learning certain facts, certain aspects, students definitely get a little anxious that, okay, how much time I'm going to devote, and 1 hour a day I'm going to just cram on facts or cram up these type of data. So that's something that every aspirant thinks about. What was your strategy to take up facts or learn these different data, facets, and how did you incorporate them in your answers and in your in your study?
Yeah, so I will again focus on newspaper reading. That is really important because if we follow the news daily, the data will get ingrained in our mind. So for the
Hmm.
last 2 months, like in the October and November, there was some news about inflation exceeding the RBI's mandate of 6%. So that was there in the news. So like for 2 or 3 days, if you read that data, it will get feed into your mind. So this is how
Correct.
some facts that you learn on daily basis. And
Yeah.
what I used to do is, if there is some very important report like world inequality report that is
Hmm.
mentioning some data about inequality, I used to make notes in my mobile, in my phone, using
Hmm.
OneNote app. So that actually helped me in doing the value addition. And also
Hmm.
uh, also I followed one document like Vision IS 365 document that
Yes.
was about economics current affairs. So
Yeah.
I collected important flow charts and graphs from that document, so that you can
Hmm.
directly reproduce those flow charts in your answers. Sometimes the problem is time management, and you have a lot of content to write. And these flow diagrams can actually help you in summarizing the content
Yeah.
through the diagram, and that can
Right.
add diversity to your answer writing also. It doesn't look monotonous, not simply
Correct.
writing. It improves your presentation also.
Hmm.
So don't overburden your answers with too many facts and too many data. Just write 2 or 3 important data figures that everyone is expected to know. Write only that data which is really important, and
Hmm.
don't remember minute details about anything. That also,
Correct.
like that overburden you with data. So keep your task simple. Just write important data like labor force participation rate, poverty rate.
Yeah.
This is something which is expected from the aspirants, like finance
Mm-hmm.
commission, devaluation data. This is something that we should write. So that was
Right.
my
Right.
strategy, like flow diagrams, data, important graphs to show the trends, and
Mm-hmm.
labeling. So while using diagrams, important thing is to label and put that diagram in the box. So that
Mm-hmm.
looks neat and clean. That I used to do in my papers. And that I did for GS also. Like if you're drawing some map, so enclose that map in the box. That looks neat and
Mm.
separate from rest of the answer.
Yeah. Presentable.
Presentable also.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have less content and leaving the page doesn't look good. Like if it's a 15 marker question and you have get 3 pages and you are done with 2 pages, so leaving one
Mm.
page doesn't look good. So what you can do is you can add one flow diagram, so it will look a very complete answer, that you haven't leave any page blank. So
Yeah.
these are the smart strategies that one gets to know when one has practiced a lot of answer writing. So
Mm.
this should also be learned in the process.
Absolutely, absolutely, Monica. Monica, one last thing that I would like to ask you. Interview, of course, becomes a very integral aspect of this examination because this is the final step. And after that, then it's the deciding factor. So, when we prepare for the interview and when the interview actually happens, there is a little difference because in the interview there are many insightful things that you actually come across, that okay, this was, I had thought this way, but okay, the panel was quite cordial, or the panel was pretty nice with me, or the panel asked me decent questions. So there are some preconceived notions also about the mark, about the actual interview. So what were your inhibitions, and how did you, follow through, and how did you make it to the interview all confident?
Yeah. So I also faced these kind of questions like interview panel, like how will I respond? Or like will I be confident or not? But taking mock interviews really help you a lot in building your confidence. So like I opted for mock interviews and that actually helped me building my confidence. And the actual interview panel is really cordial. So they encourage you to go into the conversation. It's like a conversation. It's not question answer round. If you don't
Hmm.
know anything, they will explain you some concept and then you can say that now I can add something. So this is like a conversation. They don't grill you too much, but they want to extract something out of you, that you know this or not. And the thing is, it's not bad to say no to the answer. Sometimes we think that we are expected to know everything. This is not the case. We should learn to say no, that I'm not able to recall at the moment. I will read about this after the interview. So these are the skills that one has to learn, like to be
Hmm.
able to say no very confidently.
Hmm.
So they initiate conversation types questions that you are able to answer. It's not a very grilling session. And one thing is that if you don't know the answer, just simply say no. Sometimes when we answer the question in a wrong manner, they start asking like cross questions. And then
Yes.
one start bluffing, like saying wrong things. So that is a huge blunder on the side of the
Hmm.
candidate. So
Hmm.
it's in our hands where we want to channelize the interview. So whatever you say, just say it very wisely and in a very wise words.
Hmm.
Use words very wisely, because they will
Hmm.
pick the words and then they will start another question from that word. So
Yeah.
this is really important, that what you are going to say to the panel. Otherwise, the
Ah.
environment is really cordial. You get to meet other candidates before the interview. So I was discussing with them, like, where are they from? I was not reading newspaper on that day. I just want to stay calm and chill. So my interview
Yeah.
was in the morning session.
Okay.
So yeah, so I had coffee and I was discussing with other aspirants. So that actually
Hmm.
helped you in calming yourself before the interview.
Hmm. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Anything that works for the candidate, in terms of getting to focus, and still not being very over anxious and over expecting of the interview, so that the interview goes well, is the proper like strategy. And of course, you have mentioned all the tips to definitely follow through in that interview. Concludingly, Monica, I would just like to ask you, how did Ecoholics help you out in the final run of your economic service aspiration, and how much little amount of we could contribute to you so that you could achieve your dreams?
Yeah, so ma'am, I joined Ecoholics for the interview mock practice, and the panel actually helped me in understanding what kind of questions can be built from the dev. So the interview panel actually helped me in thinking about different perspectives and the questions that can be asked from various terms that are mentioned in the dev. That actually helped me in preparing better for the interview, because I had not thought about those aspects before taking the mocks. So it was really helpful, and the panelist actually helped me in refining the content for the interview. So I felt really confident after the mock, like after getting the evaluation, and that helped me in channelizing my energy in the right manner for the interview. So Ecoholics was really helpful for me for the interview preparation, which is one of the important aspect for this examination. So I'm really grateful for the entire team.
We are very glad, Monica. Indeed, the whole team of Ecoholics is very, very glad that you could make it to the final and top 10 now. So we are very, very, happy that you are now Indian Economic Service Officer. We can proudly call you as the Indian Economic Service Officer. And I wish you all the very best for all your future endeavors. We want that you contribute magnanimously in the policy making opportunities, whatever you receive as great opportunities. So all the very best, and do stay connected so that we could request you sometime to give some mentorship to even students directly, so that before their June attempt or before their final interview, then they can take some guidance and mentorship from you.
Ma'am, I'm more than happy to act as a mentor for the aspiring aspirants. So I would like to be a part of this mentorship session in the future. And thank you for all the wishes.
Thank you so much, Monica, for giving your time. And thank you so much for such an insightful session. And all the very best for your future.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.